What if the biggest changes in watches had nothing to do with celebrity endorsements or marketing? Most brands only make small changes, but a few watchmakers are solving problems and pushing innovation. These aren't just small changes, they're actually big changes in how mechanical watches work. These next 5 watches in the lineup are going to show how progress has been made over the past several years. Let's start with a piece that most people didn't even know existed. The Krayon Everywhere isn't just a watch, it's a mechanical computer for the sun. This watch uses only gears and levers to determine when the sun rises and sets in any part of the world on any day. The complication it addresses touches the equation of time along with the variables of latitude, longitude, date, and time zone. Most brands aren't even going to touch a problem this complicated. The amount of engineering needed to fix this is mind-boggling. The manually wound movement has 595 parts, 85 of which are jewels and 145 are gear parts. The movement uses 4 differentials and 84 gear assemblies to perform these complex calculations mechanically. Even though it's very dense, founder Remy Mayat made the whole caliber only 6.5 millimeters thick. And the case, it actually sits much slimmer on the wrist than you'd expect for this level of complexity. That thinness is important because it makes the watch easy to wear while giving it a lot of mechanical depth. It also has a 72-hour power reserve, which is a lot of time for something this complicated to work on its own. Once set, the central hand points to the times of sunrise and sunset on a 24-hour scale. Other indicators let you fine-tune the date and latitude inputs. Your wristwatch can tell you the sunrise and sets all over the world. Reviewers have said that it's surprisingly easy to use. The dial is very clear, which is a good example of how to show complicated information without making it too busy. Now here's the problem. The Krayon Everywhere is very rare, but not so rare that it doesn't exist. Krayon only makes a few dozen pieces a year, and only a few Everywhere pieces are finished each year. This watch changes the game because it shows that the best new ideas fix problems that no one else can see. Remy Mayat's personal goal was to make a mechanical planetarium for your wrist, and in 2018, it won the Innovation Prize at the Grand Prix Horology de Geneviève. But the next example takes a different route to usefulness. It combines high-end watchmaking with the right kind of connectivity for professionals who work under pressure. The Moser & Co. Streamliner Alpine Mechanics Edition was made just for the pit crew. This isn't just branding. It's a connected tool made to fit the way a Formula One team works. The caliber D10 is what makes it move. It connects to iOS and Android through Bluetooth Low Energy, and it was made to last. You can use it for up to a year on a single charge in time-only mode. Its signature feature is race mode, triggered by the dedicated sync button on the case. When you turn it on, the watch connects to Alpine's live communications. You get countdown prompts at 60, 30, 15, 10, 5, and 1 minute. The case and display are made to be clear and last a long time, with legibility coming before decorative details. This watch is part of a limited set that includes the purely mechanical Streamliner Alpine Driver's Edition. Only 200 sets will be delivered together in a single presentation case. The pairing is intentional. Driver and mechanic, mechanical purity, and connected utility. Moser does let some owners of the old Streamliner buy the Mechanics Edition separately, which keeps the piece in the hands of people who will really use it. The connected label doesn't mean this is disposable tech. The build is strong enough to handle the bumps, fluids, and vibrations of a pit lane. The software features aren't a kitchen sink, they're just a few that save time and cut down on mistakes. In simple terms, Moser saw a job and made a watch that makes it easier to do. That's a more intelligent way to innovate than making a new ceramic bezel or a reissue of an old one. So does this watch fit on every wrist? Absolutely not. This is a specialized tool with a clear purpose, but it does send a strong message to the industry. When technology has a purpose, it belongs next to high-end watches, not below them. And while this example uses connectivity to fix a performance issue, the next one goes in a different direction, by rethinking what a classic dress watch is made of to make it better. Now let's talk about how to do material innovation the right way. The L.U.C. XPS forest green from Chopard shows that a watch's innovation isn't always in how complicated the movement is. The material itself is what makes the game change here. Chopard's own Lucent Steel, which is an alloy that can be recycled at least 80% of the time, is used to make the watch case. This isn't just a marketing point. It's a real commitment to being environmentally friendly in an industry that often ignores its effects on the environment. People like Lucent Steel because it has a beautiful cold sheen and a reflection that looks like minerals. It also is a good choice for practical reasons. Compared to regular steel alloys, it's hypoallergenic and it has a higher hardness, which makes it more resistant to scratches. The technical foundation is still strong here. The watch houses the L.U.C. 9612-L movement, which is an automatic caliber that's only 3.3 millimeters thick. The ultra-slim micro-rotor movement, which has a small winding rotor that sits flush with the movement instead of on top, making the whole watch only 7.2 millimeters thick. A dress watch needs to be this thin so it can easily fit underneath your shirt cuff. Chopard's twin technology is also part of the movement. It has two stacked barrels, which are the parts that store the watch's power, to give it a 65-hour power reserve. The design is a perfect example of how to mix old and new styles. The sector-style layout of the forest green dial is based on concentric circles that separate the hour and minute tracks. It has Arabic numbers and clear white printed markers that make it easy to read. And the small second subdial has a circular satin brush finish. Now here's the real deal when it comes to the value. When you look at it next to other L.U.C. models like the 1860, which costs around $25,300, the value proposition becomes clear. This watch shows that you can have both high-end luxury craftsmanship and ethical sourcing. Next, we move on to a different kind of refinement, making a classical complication more useful in everyday life without going over budget. We switch gears and take a complication that usually lives in tuxedo territory and put it on the track. The celestial sports watch is TAG Heuer's Carrera Astronomer. A moon phase display which shows the 29.5-day lunar cycle is usually only found in delicate, expensive dress watches. TAG Heuer's goal here is to make this complicated feature strong and easy to use every day. So let's start with the movement and go through the most important parts. The Carrera Astronomer has a caliber 7 automatic moon phase from TAG Heuer. It's based on the reliable Sellita SW385-1 platform. Now this is a smart and useful choice because TAG Heuer keeps the price low by using this high quality base and putting more money into the dial and complication execution. The movement runs at a normal frequency of 4 Hz and has a power reserve of around 50 hours. One of the best things about it is that it's easy to use. You can change the time and the moon phase with the crown, so you don't need any extra tools or case correctors. The dial is what makes this watch so special. The moon phase display is easy to read on a dark dial. The rotating disc with 2 moons and a starry sky goes with a hand with 2 arrows that points to the current phase. Some limited editions have a turquoise superluminova accent on the moon indicators, and this makes the display look even more unique. This movement is great for everyday use for these reasons. It gives you a high-tech visual experience without the worry of having to take care of more complicated in-house calibers. Now, we go from a sporty moon phase that's easy to live with to a watch that pushes the boundaries of what a watch can look like by using its materials to talk. This brings us to a work that sees the dial as the main place for new ideas. I'm talking about the Ming 20.01 Series 3. The Series 3 questions the idea that progress has to be purely mechanical. The breakthrough here is both visual and physical. Ming wants to change the way we think about a watch dial. Instead of just being a place to tell the time, he sees it as a place to play with light and learn about materials. So let's look at the main features, starting with the dial itself. It's made of fused borosilicate glass, which is a type of glass that's stable at high temperatures and doesn't change shape when the temperature changes. Ming worked with Femtoprint SA to make 600 tiny holes in the glass using cutting-edge laser technology. These holes are arranged in a precise radial pattern that makes a complicated wave-like three-dimensional shape in the thickness of the glass itself. The real art comes next. Superluminova is hand-filled in each of the 600 tiny holes. This careful process makes a pattern that glows and looks differently in different lights. During the day, the dial looks smooth and textured. When the light is low, it glows with a soft integrated light that appears to be coming from within the glass itself. There's a serious mechanical heart beating beneath this work of art. Heuer made the AgenGraphe caliber 6361.M1, which is a manually wound chronograph movement. The Ming's execution includes 5N rose gold coated bridges and plates with polished English. It also has a hard winding stop that gives a tactile feedback when the watch is fully wound. This watch says that being innovative can mean coming up with new ways to use old materials as well as new ways to make things work. It shows that real progress often happens quietly, with focus and far away from the spotlight. Well, there's a common theme among these 5 watches. Meaningful innovation solves real problems. Don't just look at the brand next time you look at a watch. Find a problem it solves or a limit it pushes. That's where you'll discover real value. Think about this for your collection. Breakthroughs can be quiet but important. What new ideas that aren't getting a lot of attention have you noticed? Put your picks in the comments and let's talk about them. And remember, if you like this content, make sure that you like and subscribe so you don't miss our next video. I'll see you next time. So which watch did you like the most?
I liked the Tag Heuer. Well, it has the Super Luminova in the moon phase, and I also liked it with the rose gold option. And rose gold, you can never go wrong with rose gold. And then on the back of it, the back of the watch, there is laser engraving, which I think looks really cool.